Okay, I had to disappear from the screen because I'm going to be getting in the way of the main stereo out, the main fader. But this is what I've done. I've taken the vocal track. I've also taken the drums that stays on the first track and the bass. So you can see at the top these three tracks. Now I'm going to go to my mixing window, X. And for most of this, you're going to be working out of the mixing window. And once again, I put the vocals, right? You can move these things around, by the way, in Logic. Um, the vocals, the bass, the kick, and the snare. These are the four most important parts of any song. The reason why the vocals is important because in theory everything's going to be working around the vocal track. Um, because it's the most critical part of the song and all the words and the voice needs to be heard. Everything else is going to be in support of that. So you could do this. Let me find where the vocal track starts. Oh, you know what? It starts right here because I'm organized. I can go here and say, hey, this is my vocal track. Cool. Um, and I'll just start with that. Let me see what's happening.
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom.
All right, here's some notes. I am making sure that my vocal track doesn't peak out. I don't want it to really go above -6. Right here where my I'm circling, right? Right where my mouse is. And you can see how every audio track, uh, all audio is really dealing with negative numbers. So top is 0, then -3, -6, blah, 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 and so forth. But I want to make sure that she doesn't peak out at -6.
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who am I to keep you down?
This track would be another great reason to use compression, but we're gonna do that in the assignment after this one. Cool, cool. Next, let me get my bass drum in here. And here's an additional note. When you're doing this, you are going to be consistently looking over in this main fader right here. And you're going to be leaving us what we call headroom. Headroom is simply I don't want the actual sound to get all peaky and start distorting. I want to make sure that I leave enough room to get all of my different elements of the song, all the different tracks in without distorting, right? All right, so we're cool there. Let me bring in the bass drum kick by itself. So right now I have the kick and the vocal soloed.
Now here you go again, you say.
Now, if you think about it, that's an automatic check. I'm making sure that this doesn't go over -6, and as soon as I put the kick drum in,
Now here you go
that's
again.
that's what it starts doing. So this gives me a really good hint that I am going to bring the level of the bass drum down.
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom. Well, who
Cool, cool. So I'm in a good starting point. Now I can bring in my bass and I can start to see, okay, how does this work in the game and where can I fit this in volume wise?
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? Now here you go again, you say.
So look, I'm over here monitoring the situation. Am I going above -6?
Now here you go again.
So that's the case. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring my vocal down a little bit. I'm gonna bring the kick and I'm gonna bring the bass down as well.
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom.
Stupendous. Now I'm gonna bring in the snare drum.
Now here you go again, you say want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down?
All right, so just by starting out with mixing according to my vocal, this is what I'm doing. I'm guaranteeing a good starting place for the kick drum, bass drum, the snare, and the bass to support the vocal, right? And they're all balanced. Now, each one of those tracks, the kick drum will need a little compression in the end, but the bass is going to need something because this, you can kind of feel there's certain notes that just feel lower and they're more difficult to hear than the other ones. And the thing about bass and bass drum, you want that to be real solid throughout, So that's a really good starting point. So now I can go back and maybe, let's see, put the hi-hat part in.
Now here you go again, you say.
And now I can start making my mixing decisions. Now, everything else in the mix will not be in the center. That hi-hat can come off to the side like this.
Now here you go again.
I might even try to put, I did put times in this.
Want your freedom.
There we
Well,
go.
who am I to keep you down?
Okay. All right. I'm going to let this play. So this is a great exercise to kind of get you, what are the foundations of putting a mix together. Let me go back here. I'm hitting X to get back to here. Let me put this guitar part that's in here. Let's see what happens now.
It's only right that you should.
See what happens? As soon as I put the guitar part in, I am forced to lower the volume because it's working in a supportive role. Right? And on top of that, what did we just discuss? I want to move this out of the center. So let's put this over here towards the right.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel.
Oh, guess what? We put a second guitar part in there. I believe we double this. So if that's the case, I'm going to put this. One's going to be over to the, just for visual purposes. Let me do this. One is around 9 o'clock. The other is at 3 o'clock. And they're sitting right here.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel.
And notice, I'm looking over here. I'm still in good shape. Right? It's getting closer to -6. So I'm just making sure everything kind of fits.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel.
We also put a acoustic guitar in here as well.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel.
We're going to get that out of the center. Maybe this can go over. You can pick a side.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel. But listen carefully.
Okay, so let's go back. What I'm doing now is looking for the keyboard part. I think we started off just making some corrections, but I am going to take this and do this. I'm just copying it over. All right. Pre-chorus. All right, cool. It'll probably end here. Why I say stop. So I'll just shorten this up right here. All right, let's put the keys in.
It's only right that you should play the way you feel. But listen carefully to the.
And the thing about keys, depending on how you feel, you can leave this right in the middle. The keys are a little bit different, right? Because you kind of want them to have stereo information. So I'll leave the keys in the middle. Okay, so as we keep working, let's find the background vocals and how we're going to do these. So if I'm not mistaken, the background vocals are all the same notes, just sang by different people, and they're all doubled. See what happens. They're here. Okay, automatically, up front, the background vocals are much louder than the vocals.
And what you are. Thunder only.
Great. This note is doubled, so let's get that out of the center. Let's bring the volume down. Here's another note, same note. Let's bring that down as well. Here's the other background part. This space is reserved. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to probably go further to the left, further to the right. Take this and do this. All right. And I'm going to add something else that's, I don't think I've written in yet.
And what you are, thunder only happens when it's raining.
Okay, great. Now, this is something else that we're going to throw in there. I like my vibe between backgrounds 1, the ooh 1, ooh 2, ooh 3, ooh 4. Now, this is something that you can use to your advantage. I don't think we've discussed this, but this will make your life a lot easier. You're going to see this little section over here that says group, right? I'm circling my cursor, my mouse around it. And for group, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Group 2. All of these are going to be assigned to group 2, right? It's 2, 2, 2. And as soon as I do that, this thing that says groups pops up on the left-hand side. And what we could do is determine how these groups are going to behave. So right now, what happens is that I can control, if I were using automation, if I did automation to one of these, it would affect the other tracks as well. So if I make a slight, if I go up in volume, and I'll do that in a second, when I'm using some automation, it would actually take the level of the background vocals up evenly all together, right? If I were to mute it, and you can choose over here, if I were to mute the background vocals, I would be muting all of the background vocals together. If I have a send, which I'll be doing as well, right? They'll all be sharing the same send. Let me put this over here, for example, on bus 1, right? And if I turn up the volume of one send, they all work evenly. And that will happen even if I don't have the tracks, you know, all grayed out, right? So everything in bus 2, I can treat everything evenly. I'll lock that in, right? So no matter what I do to one, I can do to the other one. So here, it would just, if I'm doing this with my volume, all my volume is locked in, right? If I were to do some kind of joint edit, if I edit a piece of one, I can say, hey, you know what? I am, if I'm editing one, and let me just do this as an example. Scissors, and let's say I cut right in the middle, right? It'll basically just treat everything the same way, right? And you can, so if you want to turn it on and off, you can do this. But right now, what I'm doing, I'm just using this to control the volume. I don't even need the mute of this right now. Let's go back to this. All right, cool. All right. So go back to my mixing window. I have these all grouped. And I can just drag these back down.
And what you are, thunder only happens when it's raining.
All right, cool. So let's keep going. I have, we have the background vocals here. They're sitting down here. Let's see what they're doing. Thunder.
And what you are,
Here we go.
thunder only happens when it's raining.
Not bad, not bad. But you know what? Obviously, we do not want those there. Let's put these kind of like 10 o'clock, the others 2 o'clock. Let's kind of mirror one another. And we can drag these down as well. All right.
And what you are,
you notice, look, I'm still under 6 here. Now, let's go back for a second. I have a choice. Maybe I want to put these in group 2. I could. So when I move everything together, they stay like a nice little family, right? And if you decide that you don't want things in a group anymore, you know what you can do? You can just go over here and just turn group 2 off. Right? Excellent. I go back here, do all this other stuff. Right? So you see what I'm doing to the send once again? If I even on the copies of the track that will be going to reverb soon, I can control those as a group without having to go to each one and tweak it to make sure that they're even. And when you do it, maybe you can go back to your guitars over here, and let's say we want to have group 3. That can be a new group, and that could be for my guitars. And you can even type it in over here, guitars. Right? Number 2, it's letting you know that there are 6 members. I'll move this over for a second. There's 6 members in my group tracks right here. So I can call these BVs. Right? And I have no idea what I was using. I was using this for the cello. But I don't want to use it for the cello. So you know what we can say? No group. All right? So we can have the guitars, they're grouped together. Bing, 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 bing. If I decide that all 3 of these will be heading to the same reverb or whatever, I can control those as well. Hey, check this out. We can do the same thing for the drums. I like the balance between kick, snare, tom, and hat, right? And this will be a crash over here. I can select all of these and then say new group. Oh, I already named this X, but I'm going to put this back in here and just rename it drums. So this way I can change, if I change my mind, all right, I like everything about my background vocals. I like the relationship between each of the voices. Rather than mess that up and I go one by one, guess what? I have everything organized and together. All right, so when we start mixing, we're going to go back, start with the lead vocal, and we're going to add the kick, and we're going to add the snare, we're going to add the bass. In regards to the pan position, they will all stay in the middle of the mix. In regards to kick and snare, they will stay in the middle of the mix. Everything else that you can see, my background vocals, they are all panned out of the center to leave room in the center for those important things. So is the guitar. And probably we'll take the trumpet might be able to stay in the middle because the vocal isn't in yet for the beginning of the song, right? So we're going to be using the grouping, right? And we'll be organizing our mix to where we can hear everything nice and even. Everything starts with the lead vocal. The next video, we're going to start talking about how we're going to be using the auxiliary tracks just to organize all of the families of instruments.